Hello and welcome to the annual planning system training. If you're looking to figure out how to better plan your years and your quarters, this is the training for you. Here's the problem. Not planning at all or the goals that you're setting just aren't happening. If you're a course creator or a coach or a membership site owner or a website building professional who builds websites for learning niches, are you suffering from not planning or just trying to plan and not really meeting your goals at all? Or maybe you hit a few, like 2 out of 10 of them, or maybe you accomplished all your goals earlier in the year and didn't really know where to go next. Here's my promise to you today. I'm going to show you how to plan a year's worth of time and your quarters effectively. So before we get into the key ways to think about this, my name's Chris Badgett. I'm the CEO and co-founder of LifterLMS. Planning is a superpower of mine, and I know some of you out there may be more kind of focused on being creative and not wanting to plan, kind of leave your schedule open, and I get that. And I actually do that too. I don't plan down to every single minute of every single day, and I have large blocks of time open on my calendar for whatever might come up. But the active planning can be very helpful, especially at the year level. It can reduce so much stress and increase your odds of success as an education entrepreneur or as a WordPress website building professional. And just so you know how valuable what I'm about to show you is I've paid tens of thousands of dollars worth of business coaching to kind of learn this system. A lot of what you'll learn here is from one of my business coaches, Dan Martell. I've taken what he kind of taught us, and I have taken it further and tailored it specifically to you. So here are the main principles to keep in mind. Number one is you got to have a vision and a mission. If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And a lot of times, many of us aim too high, or perhaps more often than not, we actually aim too low. We don't set our vision and our mission and what we want to achieve. We don't actually reach high enough. We don't dream enough. We don't think. We get all hung up in our own negative self-talk and limiting to beliefs. When really we just need to open up and get some clarity around our vision and mission and dream a little bit, kind of at scale, like from like a 10-year horizon, a 3-year horizon, a 1-year horizon, and kind of get to all these different levels of what are we going to accomplish? Why are we here? What's the meaning of all this? What do we want to achieve? You got to have a vision and a mission. If this space shuttle took off into space in the space race and wasn't trying to land on the moon, it was just trying to see if it could break through out of the atmosphere. That's like a totally different thing than having a specific target where exactly we want to set foot and be the first person to walk on the moon. So that's vision and mission. The next is we want to chart the organization. So even if you're a solo operator, this is still very valuable, and it's actually going to provide a lot of comfort because you'll realize how many different hats you're wearing, how many plates you're spinning around kind of organizing the org chart of the organization. And kind of each area here, I'm lucky enough to be, I have a friend and mentor who used to work closely with Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs at Apple had this concept of the SRI, which is the singly responsible individual. So who is the singly responsible individual for this function in the company? You can slice and dice the organization however you like. The way I like to kind of slice it is to have product, engineering, sales, marketing, customer success, and operations and admin. Those are what I see as the 6 key functions of a business. And even in my company here at LifterLMS, the world's leading learning management system for WordPress, we have specific people at the head of each of those areas. And our goal, from the beginning when we were small and we're still on the path to get perfectly there, is we want to have one SRI, singly responsible individual, at each kind of leadership seat in the organization, and also even within key areas under each of those roles. The next thing we want to do is we want to reflect and project. Many of us are guilty, like myself, of having my head stuck in the clouds. I'm a visionary. I project into the future a lot. And I know other people that are more kind of stuck in the past, constantly, reliving the past or retreating into, some kind of old story. But both kind of ways of seeing are valuable. We want to take some time out of our calendar, ideally at least a couple days. If you can do a whole week, that's even better, especially for annual planning. And you want to reflect back. You want to look on the previous year and quarter, and then you want to project forward of where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish in the next year and quarter and immediate next month ahead? So we want to reflect and project. I like to do something. I'm literally getting ready to do that as of this recording next week with my leadership team at LifterLMS, where we go and we do this kind of reflect and project process so we can figure out where we want to go. And just think about how much more efficient you can be when you take some time and really think strategically about what you're going to accomplish, even if it feels like you're kind of stepping back from the day-to-day and wasting or losing some time. By being smart about your plan for the next year, even though you have to take some time away to do that well, you can be much more focused and strategic by reflecting and projecting of where you want to go in the months and year ahead. The next thing we want to do is sculpt to discover. So sometimes the best plan is actually probably already inside of you. And what we need to do is we need to remove layers of away, kind of like a sculptor is removing the masterpiece with inside the stone to discover the plan. One of the things I like to do when kind of sculpting a strategic plan for a year is to look at what went well and what didn't go well, but also looking ahead, like where can we like kind of amplify what's already working and do more of that. And then, what new project might we do, and what might we want to discard that's not serving us anymore, and kind of take that stone away and kind of reveal that master strategic plan in front of us. The next concept I like to use is called Fractal Meetings. Now, if you know what a fractal is, it's basically a pattern that repeats itself. You can create these kind of programmatically, but these designs are found in nature, like in tree branches or snail shells or broccoli florets. But basically, the reason this is relevant here is that when we do a strategic plan and we do ongoing meetings to facilitate this process, we kind of do it at all these different levels. Like mostly it's around the annual. What are we going to plan for the year? In order to do that, we actually need to look ahead at the 10 and the 3 year. But then we also want to look at once we kind of chart the year, what are the key projects we're going to do, people to hire, internal initiatives of the company. We want to chunk that down into our quarter plan, and then commit to that quarter. And then as we're in that quarter, we're going to be meeting monthly to check in on how we're doing, if we need to pivot anything, and kind of remain in line. And then in my company, we also do an all-hands weekly meeting where we kind of go over our progress and reveal any roadblocks and anything like that. And then daily, we actually have a quick 5 to 10 minute daily stand-up scrum meeting, that kind of thing. But all these meetings are kind of the same thing to just reinforce the plan. That's why it's really important to do a strategic planning process well. Now, I'm going to share some models with you to help you choose what to focus on, because the biggest challenge any entrepreneur has is choosing what to focus on. So I'm going to jump to my iPad, and I'm going to give you some tools that you can use to help you focus your strategic plan and like which projects to do. And I'm going to show you how to, work your right brain and your left brain together with a few frameworks I like to use. This is all going to culminate in an actual strategic planning document and a template that I'm going to share with you so that you can create your next year or quarter strategic plan. All right, the first tool I'm going to give you is called the SWOT Analysis. So this is a framework that you can use to kind of brainstorm and come up with ideas and kind of figure out where the pain is and where the opportunity is, both reflecting on the past and projecting into the future. So you want to divide the SWOT analysis up into 4 areas. The first is called strengths. So you want to look at your business or your project and kind of identify your strengths. Like what is, both quantitative and qualitatively your strengths in your course, in your membership site, in your business, in your team, in your personality. Really focus in on those strengths and list them out. Just create 4 columns in a spreadsheet or do 4 lists. The first list is your strengths, so list those out. And just to give you an example, some of ours as a company is that we give away more value for free than anybody else. We're closer to our customer than anybody else in terms of supporting them, listening them, and so on. We have incredible endurance, which carries us through the hard times or the lean times and that kind of thing. But what are the strengths for you and your business? The next is, what are the weaknesses? So what are the weaknesses? Perhaps you suffer from, as an entrepreneur, you suffer from shiny object syndrome, or you suffer from a lack of systems and processes in your company. So you're constantly fire killing and having to figure out everything from scratch. Another area to look at, more looking into the future, is what are the opportunities? Perhaps you could kind of introduce a new customer avatar of who you sell your training to or offer your training into. Maybe in addition to selling to individuals, you could sell into groups or offering training into groups. LifterLMS has a groups add-on that's perfect for this feature. That might be an opportunity to expand your impact and your income and get more benefit from less work. That's an example opportunity. Maybe there's a strategic partner that you could kind of figure out how to work with in a win-win scenario. Perhaps there's an opportunity to increase your pricing, as an example, or maybe redo your course or your signature program or some of your content to make it better and just kind of iterate on what you already have going well. The next area is threats. So this is where you just look out into the market, and maybe it's your personality, maybe it's another situation. Maybe you have a competitor that's on the horizon that you're kind of concerned about. Maybe it's a new competitor. Maybe you have a partnership or a friendship that isn't supporting you, and they're kind of losing faith in you, and that's like a threat. And it's a serious one, and it's an important one, but it's important to acknowledge that. Maybe you see some other folks partnering up when you would love to have that partnership too, something like that. These are threats. So do a SWOT analysis of your online learning business, or if you're a service provider serving this industry, what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And from this, you want to come up with like key projects you could focus on, partnerships, people to hire, things that you can do internally in your company to make it better, more efficient, a better place to work, things like that. The next thing we're going to look at is once we have kind of done the brain dump of the SWOT analysis, then to help us prioritize, we can do something called a RICE scoring system. So we've listed all these things out, and maybe we found some synergies on some things like, oh, well, if I hire this person, they can do these projects and decrease this threat and so on. Then we want to do what's called RICE scoring. The first R stands for reach. So what this means is if we do this key project, will it increase our reach as a company? Like, can we affect the lives of more people? On a scale of 1 to 10, will this project or key hire increase our reach into the market? So for example, I was given the example of serving not just individuals, but companies. Are there a lot of those kind of companies? How far out could our reach extend by focusing on serving business to business or to groups, organizations, not just individual learners? That's a reach kind of scoring thing. The next is impact. So also on a scale of 1 to 10, how impactful would this key project or person to hire or internal company initiative be on our success? So there's kind of like a stair step here of what I call like a modest win, an incremental improvement, or a big win. And then there's like kind of a game-changing transformation at the high end of the impact spectrum. So whatever this project you're going to do, if you're just going to like do something and put a lot of effort to it, and it might increase your, let's say, profit margin by 1 to 5%, that's an incremental improvement. If this project has the potential to 10x your company in terms of revenue, that would be a super high impact project. So what is the score there on a 1 to 10? The next is confidence. This is why it's important to dream a little bit. Also on a scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you that you and or your team can actually deliver on this project? Like, can you actually hire the perfect COO or operations manager? Or if you're going to move up market, how confident are you that you can do that? If you're going to sell in bulk to organizations, how confident are you that you can close these deals? If you're going to double your pricing, how confident are you that you can actually do the work to pull this off and navigate all the scenarios? So confidence. And then the last piece is ease. So how much work is required here? So a 10 means like, hey, maybe this could get done at like actually in an hour or like in 1 day. So it's super easy. Like if all you have to do to change your pricing is just go into the course billing system or the membership billing system and just add another 0 to the end, that's pretty easy. So, and if that's what you're going to do, or just change a number somewhere, that's easy. Whereas like creating a whole new program from scratch, with lots of new content, new marketing, and all this is like tons of work. So that would be a low score of ease, which would be like a 1. So this is the RICE scoring system. So in combination with SWOT, we've now brain dumped a bunch of projects out, and then we've started scoring them, and this allows to bubble to the top which ones of these are going to give us the most potential or ROI. Like, this is the hard part about strategic planning, is we need to pick the best possible projects, and we're going to have to say no to a lot of things, especially if you're a super creative person. And then next, before we go into the template, we're going to come up with several projects and ideas, and we're looking at our scoring and what we're going to do. And there's an old story, you may or may not have heard it, about this concept of rocks pebbles, and sand. So basically the way it works is we have these like different size, items. We got the rock, what I call a boulder, then we have the rock, and then we have the pebble, and then we have the sand. And what a lot of us do when we're strategic planning is that we go ahead and just load up our capacity, like what we can actually do in a year with sand, like a bunch of like little stuff, and then maybe we drop one of the big boulders in there and a couple stones, and then we start putting some pebbles on here, and then we put another boulder on there, and it just doesn't fit. And your capacity is going to depend on the size of your company, of what you can actually fit. But as a general rule, what we actually want to do is we want to figure out what are our big rocks. Like if we can only accomplish 2 big things a year, what are those? And by big things, I mean things that are going to take probably a whole quarter to achieve. Like if we could only do 2 projects out of the 10 ideas we have, again, this changes based on your team size, what would we do? And then what like other, kind of month-long projects can we do? These are our rocks. And then we've got usually a bunch of little stuff that we can kind of squeeze in with our pebbles. And then what happens, here's where the magic happens, is we dump all those little teeny tweaks and micro projects in, and that's our sand. And you can see how these all fit. So you got to figure out the big things first. And what happens when you're strategic planning is often you get sidetracked into you get sidetracked into like all these little things and shiny object syndrome. The most important thing you can do is figure out what those big initiatives are and focus on those first. And that might be something that you're already doing and just amplifying it and taking it to a whole new level, and it might take an entire quarter to pull off. So I hope these frameworks you found helpful. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pivot into the actual strategic planning document and how to organize our projects and further flesh out our vision and mission. All right, so just to recap before we jump into the planning document, you have a huge problem if you're not planning at all, or your goals are just not happening or barely happening, or you're not shooting high enough with your goals. My promise for you here today, and I'm really excited to share with you this document on how to plan your years and your quarters effectively, and you're going to get the exact template I use. The main things you want to think about, the 5 key principles, are to have a clear vision and mission, to chart your organization so you know who's responsible for what. Even if it's just you wearing all the hats, this will make you feel better because you'll realize what you're going to do. And then to reflect on the past, project on the future, to remove things and really intentionally sculpt the masterpiece out of what the raw materials that you already have, to use meetings to support you effectively in a rhythm that reinforces kind of in a similar pattern. And I went through the models of the SWOT analysis with you, the RICE scoring, so that you can figure out what's most important or easiest to pull off. And then we talked to the ideas of boulders, rocks, and pebbles, which particularly come into play when kind of figuring out what's actually possible in a quarter or about 3 months' time. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to share with you the exact template I use. So I'm going to jump into this course here, which you're on. And that was just at lifterlms.com/year will take you here. And this is the exact annual planning template that I use. So download this document. You can make it your own, copy, paste it into a Google Doc. That's where I manage it. But I've given it to you here as a PDF so that you can, map out your vision and mission and strategic plan for the next year and quarters ahead, and even a longer term time horizon. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I worked with some business coaches like Dan Martell who helped me come up with this kind of framework for, doing strategic planning effectively without wasting tons of time. And really the key things you need are all right here in this document. So, just put in your company name here, and I'm going to work down this document, and it's going to give you everything you need to plan your next year and quarters ahead. The first thing is to figure out what your core focus is, which is who's your customer and what do you want to help them achieve and how? Like, who is your ideal customer? For me, it's to help WordPress professionals build world-class e-learning platforms with our software, LifterLMS. A lot of businesses don't actually spend the time to figure out who their ideal customer is. It doesn't mean you're not gonna say no to all these people and not help all the other people that come your way. It's just who's the perfect fit customer for you, and then what do you help them create, achieve, what result, and how. The next thing is really important is core values. I highly recommend figuring these out. Do it with your team. Don't be cheesy with it and use things like trust and maybe trust is important to you, so I don't mean to talk down to it, but these should be values that you kind of live by, that you hire and fire against in your organization. And if you're ever feeling lost, you should be able to go back to your core values as a company and figure out what those are. So as an example, these are the ones at LifterLMS. We have 6 core values: to be community focused, to reduce friction. I'm making this training for you right now to help reduce friction for you. Continuous improvement. We're lifelong learners. We help others do the same. We put learner results first. So for example, I could have sold you this training just in the way that, I did. I paid a lot to invest in my learning, and I definitely recommend that, but I'm putting your results first. If I can just get you to do annual planning and quarterly planning effectively, you're going to be so much more successful. Extreme ownership is a big thing for us. That's about taking responsibility and leadership. And then clear communication. My hope is that you'll find this training, that we'll clearly communicated some very powerful, simple but effective strategies for planning your years and quarters. The next thing is to create the vision for your company. So what do you want to create? What wrong do you want to right in the world? For us at LifterLMS, it's simple: to lift up others through education. I've seen a lot of different successful learning projects and agencies over the years, and the best ones always have a clear vision and mission. The next is your 10-year target. So you got to dream a little bit here. Where do you see your business in 10 years? What's your reach? What have you accomplished? What's your business known for? So, we've all heard that thing that we overestimate what we can accomplish in a day. We underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. But you'd be blown away at how much we underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade. So dream big. How much revenue do you want to be making 10 years from now in your company or your business? Is it $1 million? Is it 500,000? Is it 100 million? What is it? For us, we want to have customers in every country. I think we only have like 20 left. LifterLMS has almost met that already, and we're only 7 years old. Recognized as the leading model for how to do X. So for us, we like to be recognized as the leading model for how to do freemium in WordPress. World-class partnerships, perhaps certain brands or people using your product. X numbers of employees and benefits. Do you want to be like a 30-person company, a 1-person company, lifestyle business, or like 100 or 1,000 person company? What kind of conversion rate do you want? What if you were to win awards, what would they be for? So dream a little bit and create this list. The next is we want to have a marketing strategy. So it's one thing to come up with a compelling business, but we need a way to effectively market and sell. So condense your marketing strategy down to the essentials, like who's the ideal customer, what's your competitive advantage, what's your proven process, and how do you guarantee results? It's really that simple. So just to give you an example of what ours is, our ideal customer is a WordPress professional, website freelancer who serves the e-learning industry. They have at least 2 years serving clients, 4+ years of WordPress. They're polite and successful with courses themselves. Our competitive advantage is freemium. We give away more for free than all the other paid solutions. What's in the paid products in WordPress LMS space? LifterLMS gives away almost all of that for completely free. So that's something to look at. We're also an all-in-one. Like we have the most advanced solution that combines LMS, e-commerce, membership, engagement all in one. And there's no limits on functionality and design customizability. And we're designed around learner results and transformation, not just basic memberships information sites. And then we have a very strong user community and trusted brand. So part of the reason why I'm delivering this training for you today is building community. I want our community to be successful, and this is one of the most important things you can do. So the next thing is our proven process. I'm a content marketing person. Some people are better at ads and outbound sales. Other people are good at partnerships and relationships. And we're all what I found is people have one of those 3 superpowers in terms of marketing. For us as content, we're all right at partnerships and relationships, and we're not very great at outbound/ads. But this is our proven process. So we have free content and free software, which gets an opt-in into for something or into a free course like you're in right now. Then we have an automated demo video, which is kind of like a sales presentation. Then we have a trial where you can try our software out. We have an individual add-ons you can buy. Then we have bundles, which you can upgrade and get everything we make in our biggest bundle. So this is our proven process from marketing all the way through sales. And then we have a guarantee, a simple 100% no risk 30-day money back guarantee. The next thing we want to do is we want to craft our 3-year vision. So where do you see yourself in, I should say 3 years, be specific. So by December 31st, 2024, we'll be a team of 20 people, have next X number of customers, and be an X $1 million a year company. We will have achieved, and just list out all these accomplishments. Like in 3 years, where do you see yourself? Like, what do you want to have accomplished? Like, list it out, close your eyes, envisioning yourself and your business 3 years from now, and your course, your membership site, whatever it is, like, what does it look like 3 years from now? And list that out. Then we want to get a little more, now we're starting to kind of ground into reality. We're starting to think about our success state or our accomplishment 1 year from now. So this is, not quite as big as our 3 or our 10 year, but what will we have accomplished? And think about all the, kind of projects that we brainstormed earlier with the RICE and the SWOT scoring and stuff like that. Some of those things might be in here, but maybe if we are successful at those things, at those key projects, what will we have accomplished that's even bigger than those things? So list those out in your 1 year plan. And basically you just want to list out all the key, projects, people to hire, key partnerships, internal projects at your company that you can accomplish in 1 year from the work you did with the SWOT analysis and the RICE scoring. List them all out here. It's okay, dream big. If something comes up in the year and you have to pivot, it's okay. Like, don't get all caught up in being perfect, but do the best you can and be reasonable with your capacity of what would be amazing if you could accomplish in 1 year. The next thing you want to do is create your organizational chart. So list all that out. you can see here I have a bigger company, so I have, key functions, and then I have, a leader in each of these functions, and then maybe there's somebody under that function that reports up to that leader, has specific projects or areas of the business that they're responsible for. And on my real organizational chart, you'll see my name in lots of places. So I'm not at a point in my business, or neither is my business partner Thomas, where we're only sitting up here. We're leading areas. We're also doing the work in a lot of places as well. And many of our team members are in multiple places as well. But it's important to list out this accountability chart. It'll make things much easier on your team, what you expect from them. It'll help you relax, realizing everything that you do. And then you can build on this over time. And this kind of framework can also help you figure out if you have a new role that you need to hire to look at this. So once you have your organizational chart mapped out, then we get into the actual quarterly planning. So this is a process you run 4 times a year at the change of the quarter. At the beginning of the year, it's more involved because you're planning the whole year, and then you're dropping into the Q1. The other parts of the year, like at the beginning of Q2, you kind of revisit the annual plan and then drop straight into the quarter 2 planning, so it goes much quicker. So you don't have to redo annual planning every quarter. You do have to redo annual planning every year. So every year, basically revisit the whole document. But then once you get into the quarterly plan, you essentially use the SWOT analysis and the RICE scoring. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? What projects, people you can hire, key company initiatives, and so on. What can you actually do given your capacity? So, and usually this is like 3 to 7 projects at most for what you can not only do, but do well in the next 90 days. And also with this, you want to look at just more than half of this should ideally be doing things that you're doing that are already working, but doing even better, or doing the next iteration or version of, and list those out. So that once you complete this document, this will guide you as a company so that you can do annual and quarterly planning every year. So I hope you found that training helpful. If you're looking for the leading learning management system for WordPress, if you're creating courses, training-based membership sites, or even an online school or internal company training portal for your business or your organization, go to LifterLMS.com. You can save 10% with the coupon code SAVE10. I'm Chris Badgett. I'm the CEO and co-founder of LifterLMS. Annual planning and strategic planning has set me free in my business to be way more efficient and to let the process do the heavy lifting. So I hope you enjoyed this training. Please let us know what you thought about it. If we can help you in any way, just reach out to help@lifterlms.com, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.